Hi, this is the Bible Touchstone, and this is part 4 in a response to a YouTuber, Jesse, who emailed me defending the Age of Accountability theology. And I respect him for using Scripture to appeal for his case. What I don't, what I have a problem with, though, is his usage of passages outside of their context and inferring propositions from them that aren't contingent or necessarily inferred from the passage, or especially within appealing to the greater context. This is part 4, and I wanted to give first my view that there are examples in the Bible where sinners were punished specifically because they did not know, specifically because of their ignorance. I've cited them up above, and also the law. What does the law say about this? It says that ignorant sinners are guilty nonetheless of their sin, whether they're ignorant or not. And if a soul sin, and they commit any of these things which are forbidden to be done by the commandments of the Lord, though he knew it not, yet he is guilty, and shall bear his iniquity. And he shall bring a ram without blemish out of the flock, and with thy estimation for a trespass offering unto the priest, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his ignorance wherein he erred and knew it not, and it shall be forgiven him. It is a trespass offering. He hath certainly trespassed against the Lord. So notice, even though he knew it not, he's still guilty, and he's bearing the iniquity. And the only way to be forgiven of his sin was to offer up a sacrifice. So, since he had certainly trespassed against the Lord, even though he knew it not, suppose he never found out. Well, that displays the necessity for the imputed righteousness and the grace and mercy of God, especially through faith in Jesus Christ. So the law certainly provided a way and anticipated the grace that would be revealed in Jesus Christ when Jesus Christ put away sin once and for all in his sacrifice on the cross. But whether they knew it or not, all were guilty. Accountability, he says, is limited to or exactly proportional to knowledge. Notice that contradicts some of the statements I made. But the verses he appeals to don't contradict what I say. That's because his proposition isn't necessarily inferred from the passages he cites. Perhaps the passages he cites make it a possibility, or it's likely that that could happen, but it's not a logical inference. I'll give some examples. John 19:11 says, Jesus answered, Thou couldst have no power at all against me except it were given thee from above. Therefore, he that hath delivered me unto thee hath the greater sin. Here's an example of these passages that don't ever say that sins are exonerated in ignorance completely, but there are lesser and greater sins. That's most of the appeals he's given, or that if everybody's rewarded according to their works, those things that which are done in the body, well, suppose one person only had one sin. Well, every sin's worthy of death, even the least. And that can keep you from entering the kingdom of heaven. But, like he suggests in some of these appeals, that some would be even greatly committed to punishment for every single thing they've done in the body if they haven't been covered by the righteousness of Jesus Christ and the imputed righteousness. They haven't not been justified by his works. In Luke, he says that Jesus prays, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, and they parted his raiment and cast lots. Does this necessarily infer that all men universally, like there's some kind of soteriological truth that if you don't know what you do, that you're exonerated from your sin and not being held accountable? No, what this shows is that Jesus Christ had mercy on sin. Matthew 23, Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you devour widows' houses, and for patience make long prayer. Therefore ye shall receive a greater damnation. Greater damnation regardless, all those that commit sin, even one sin, is worthy of damnation, worthy of hellfire. Suppose some are going to get more stripes than others. James 3:1, My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive a greater condemnation. This doesn't necessarily infer that some would not receive a condemnation because they were ignorant of their deeds. Mark 6:11, And whoever shall not receive you nor hear you when the distance thence shall shake off the dust of your feet for testimony against them. Verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. Well, Sodom and Gomorrah were utterly destroyed. They weren't, um, they weren't preserved, or because they were more ignorant than in Jerusalem. All it shows is that Jerusalem would have a greater condemnation. It would be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah, but Sodom and Gomorrah certainly were judged. You can't necessarily infer that that means that babies are innocent because of knowledge or ignorance. Hebrews 10:26, For if we sin willingly after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. This deals with believers who are held accountable to sin, even like everybody else. I mean, if you have grace and righteousness imputed on you, does that mean what then shall we sin? And Paul says, no, certainly not. We must uphold the law. We're still accountable. It cannot be logically inferred from this that those who do not sin willingly but sin nonetheless, having not received the knowledge of the truth, it cannot logically be inferred that those people have no condemnation. Hebrews 2 or 2 Peter 2:21, For it had been better for them not to know the way of righteousness, that after they had known it, to turn from the holy commandment delivered unto them. Does this necessarily mean that those people that didn't know it, that those would be fully exonerated and blameless? Or even look earlier up in the chapter, in verse 12. And these, the natural beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil things that they understand not, and they shall utterly perish in their own corruption. They're judged because they sin, not because they are ignorant. And likewise, those people that have the knowledge of the truth, what can be necessarily inferred from 2 Peter 2:21, is that even with grace, you're still held accountable for what you do. Otherwise, you probably don't got saving grace if you sin, and make a mockery of the sacrifice of Jesus Christ for you. And I got another video I want to dive a little bit deeper in some of these things. Grace be to you.